These rare findings are not a part of an expedition. Explorers didn't stumble across them by accident or design. These discoveries are an unexpected impact of droughts that are intensifying around the world. The world is observing a water week right now. This year the theme is Seeing the Unseen, the Value of Water. No one knows the value of water more than those living in drought-prone areas. Extreme drought conditions are threatening livelihoods in different parts of the world. This is the Danube River, the second longest river in Europe. Originating in Germany, it flows through much of the central and southeastern parts of the continent. Running through 10 countries, the Danube connects the largest number of countries in the world. But in Serbia, the river is drying up. Europe's worst drought in years has pushed the mighty river to one of its lowest levels in almost a century. These are scenes from Prahovo, Serbia's river port town. The receding levels of the river have exposed the hulks of dozens of German warships sunk during World War II. The vessels were among hundreds scuttled along the Danube by Nazi Germany's Black Sea Fleet in 1944. Many of them still contain tons of ammunition and explosives. They pose a danger to other ships.
The Second World War's remnants, or the consequences of the conflict between the Red Army and the German war flotilla, are now here in front of us. They left behind an ecological disaster. We have about 10,000 kilograms of explosive devices here. We do not know if they can explode or not.
Unexploded bombs from the Second World War era emerge time and again in Europe, especially when rivers dry up. Italy has been facing its worst drought in 70 years. In July, the country declared a state of emergency for areas surrounding the Po, its longest river. The lands that border the Po count for roughly a third of Italy's agricultural production. The parched condition of the Po has cost billions of euros in losses to farmers who normally rely on it to irrigate fields. In the same month, an unexploded device was discovered near the Lombardy village of Borgo Vergilio. The Italian army detonated the bomb in a controlled explosion.
The bomb was found by fishermen on the bank of the Po River due to a decrease in water levels caused by the drought.
About 3,000 people living in the area of Borgo had to be evacuated. Hot weather and low rainfall levels have compounded northern Italy's water shortages. Italy's largest lake is losing 2 centimeters of water a day. The drought has reduced Lake Garda to near its lowest level ever recorded. Sirmione is a historic city on the southern end of Lake Garda. It is known for its thermal baths and Rocca Scagliera, a medieval castle overlooking the lake. Tourists that flock to the lake are shocked to see this rocky beaches. Previously underwater rocks now lie exposed.
It's a bit sad. Earlier we could hear the noise of the waves breaking up here. Now you don't hear anything. Boats struggle to operate near the lake shore because of the lower water level. It's bad for business.
Arriva qua dove siamo noi, guarda, a questo punto.
Water used to reach up to here, where we are, till this point. Now it has withdrawn about 30 meters.
Molto dolce, quindi arretrando l'acqua di...
Spain is reeling under a prolonged heat wave too. This is the country's central province of Cáceres. Archaeologists were delighted when water in the Valdecañas reservoir receded. They could now see the rarely visible dolmen of Guadalperal. The circle of dozens of megalithic stones is believed to date back to 5000 BC. It's been dubbed the Spanish Stonehenge. It was discovered by Hugo Obermeier, a German archaeologist, in 1926. However, the area was flooded in 1963. Since then, it has only become fully visible 4 times. Hidden items on riverbeds have been revealed across the continent. In Germany, the mighty Rhine has hit its lowest water levels ever at several points. Carved boulders used to record historic droughts have emerged in the shrinking river. These ominous warnings carved on boulders are being called hunger stones. People's names are engraved next to the date of the drought. Many such stones can be found along the riverbanks. The reappearance of these stones is seen as a warning, a reminder of the hardships people face during droughts. The stones were also used to indicate bad harvests, interrupted river navigation, and consequent famine. Europe, which suffered unprecedented flooding last year, is now witnessing one of its hottest summers. According to the European Drought Observatory, about 60% of the EU and the UK has been affected by drought. Another analysis, this one by the European Union's Joint Research Centre, states that the continent is experiencing its worst drought in at least 500 years. Hot and dry conditions are fueling wildfires, reducing crop yields and impacting electricity generation. France's River Loire, famous for hundreds of castles on its banks, has been one of the many water bodies that has been severely hit by the record-breaking drought. The country's longest river is drying up.
It makes me sad. I grew up in the village and have never seen the Loire in this state. We used to go to the water holes over there with our children and fish. Now the water is too hot. The fish have vanished. You can only find algae and frogs.
I'm worried about what's happening everywhere, and not just here. I'm concerned about the Earth, about the whole planet, because what we are seeing here is happening in other places too.
Look at these shocking visuals. High temperatures and a lack of rain have turned large parts of the UK landscape brown. The change is visible, even from space. England recorded its driest July since 1935, with only 35% of the average rainfall for the month.
I just get annoyed. It happens every time we get any hot weather, and then they tell us not to, sort of water our plants or watch the water and everything like that, and they're not fixing the problem with the drains or the leaks everywhere.
The River Thames stretches 356 kilometers across southern England. The natural spring that supplies the river dries up most summers. But this year, the source of the river has dried up further downstream than ever before.
About 15 kilometres of a river behind me to get up where the Thames normally would rise. Now, it's also true to say that the Thames at its source, at the usual source, dries up fairly often. That is true. But to have pushed so far down its course is this early is unusual, and it is worrying.
And then there is this. As the UK recorded temperatures of over 40 degrees for the first time, fire services came under immense pressure dealing with multiple blazes that left homes and fields destroyed. Major incidents were announced in London, Leicestershire and South Yorkshire. On the 12th of August, Britain officially declared a drought in parts of England. Households face new curbs on water usage. The drought follows England's driest July in nearly 90 years. Crops destroyed. Power outage. Experts believe China is witnessing the strongest heat wave since the country started meteorological observations in 1961. This video shows a tributary of China's most important river, the Yangtze, almost completely dried up. The plunging water levels have revealed a submerged island in China's southwestern city of Chongqing. A trio of Buddhist statues on it are believed to be 600 years old. This is the Qingyun Temple, located in Guangdong province. Firefighters rushed to the Buddhist temple to save a century-old tree. After 2 days of careful watering, the ancient tree was saved. Yangtze's receding water levels have snarled the electricity generation at many key hydropower plants along the river. Multiple provinces have announced power cuts. This is Shanghai's famed Bund riverfront. It is known for its decorative lights. As a nationwide heatwave sent power demands soaring, the landscape lighting was switched off for 2 days. Factories in China's southwest have shut down after reservoirs used to generate hydropower ran out. Officials are trying to protect the country's grain harvest by using chemicals to generate rain. The country's southern Hubei province has started a 3-month-long cloud seeding project. As you can see, droughts are hurting the world's biggest economies. In the US, too, nearly 3/4 of farmers say this year's drought is hurting their harvest. In Texas, a drought has dried up a river flowing through Dinosaur Valley State Park. Tracks from giant reptiles that lived some 113 million years ago have been exposed. From devastating droughts to scorching heat waves, extreme weather events have caused widespread upheaval across the globe this year. More than 1 billion people around the world were affected by drought between 2000 and 2019, making it the second worst disaster after flooding. Dry and barren, a 4th season of failed rains is causing one of the worst droughts the Eastern Horn of Africa has seen in decades. As many as 20 million people in 4 African countries are facing food shortages. No corner of the globe is immune from its devastating consequences. A United Nations report has revealed that many parts of India fall under the list of regions that are vulnerable to drought globally. This year, the country recorded its hottest March since 1901. In June, this video went viral. Women can be seen climbing down a 30 feet almost dried up well. They are risking their lives to fetch some water. This should be a wake-up call. Historically, periods of drought have always existed. Mega droughts have changed the course of human history. But climate change is making them more frequent, severe, and pervasive. And all of us are on the front line.